Hello, everyone, and welcome back to BA632 Operations and Project Management. I hope you have had the opportunity to review this week's assigned readings and the presentation prepared by your classmates. In this video, I would like to build upon those concepts by focusing on what happens after a project has been approved and planning is complete. Before we begin, I'd like to address something you may have noticed if you have started reading the latest PMBOK guide. If you have previously studied project management, you're probably familiar with the traditional knowledge areas, including project integration management. Today, the PMBOK guide has evolved and is organized around project management principles and performance domains, placing greater emphasis on leadership, value delivery, systems thinking, and tailoring project management practices to the needs of the organization. Although the terminology has evolved, the leadership responsibilities we will discuss today remains fundamental to every successful project. Directing project work, controlling changes, managing knowledge, monitoring the performances, and properly closing a project are still essential responsibilities of a project manager. What has changed is not what we do, but how we think about delivering value. As future managers and executives, I encourage you to view project management as more than a collection of tools and templates. Successful projects are ultimately about people, leadership, communication, sound decision making, and delivering meaningful results. As we go through today's lessons, I would like you to keep one question in mind. What separates projects that simply finish from projects that truly succeed? In my experience, the answer is rarely better planning alone. More often, it's quality of leadership and the ability to bring people, information, decisions together towards a common objective. So let's begin. So today's lesson focuses on the leadership responsibilities that transform a project plan into a successful project delivery. We will begin by discussing the role of the project manager as the project's integrator. From there, we will examine project integration management and why it has traditionally been considered one of the most important responsibilities of a project manager. We'll then discuss how the project managers direct and manage project work, how they capture and share knowledge throughout the project, and why lessons learned are critical for the continuous organizational improvement. As you listen to today's presentation, notice that the topic is connected. Project management is not a series of isolated activities. Each decision affects other decisions. Each department depends on the others. And every action should ultimately contribute to delivering value for the organization. That's one of the key ideas emphasized throughout the current PMBOK guide, and it's a theme you will continue to see throughout this course. So let's begin by discussing one of the most important roles of a project manager. Many people believe that project managers' primary responsibility is preparing schedules or updating project reports. Those activities are certainly important, but they represent only one small portion of the job. The project manager's most important responsibility is serving as the integrator of the project. I'd like you to think of an orchestra. An orchestra may consist of dozens of highly talented musicians. Each person knows how to play their instrument exceptionally well. However, without a conductor coordinating everyone's effort, the performance quickly becomes disorganized. Each musician may perform well individually, yet the overall result falls short of what the audience expects. Project management works very much the same way. Engineering focuses on technical design, Finance focuses on budgets and financial controls. Procurement manages contracts and purchasing. Operations focuses on implementation. Information technology supports the systems and the infrastructure. Each department has different priorities, different perspectives, and sometimes competing objectives. So someone must ensure that all these efforts move in the same direction, and that responsibility belongs to the project manager. The project manager doesn't need to be the technical doesn't need to be the technical expert in every discipline. Instead, the project manager provides coordination, leadership, communication, and alignment. So one of the characteristics of effective project manager is their ability to see the entire system rather than focusing on only one department. So a decision that improves the schedule may increase cost. Reducing costs may affect quality. Expanding project scope may increase risk. Every decision has consequences somewhere else in the project. This is where systems thinking becomes important. Rather than optimizing one area, successful project managers evaluate how decisions affect the project as a whole. So I would like you to think about projects in your own organization. Who usually performs this integration role? Is it formally assigned to the project manager, or does someone naturally emerge as the coordinator because others rely on that person's leadership? Those are questions worth reflecting on because successful integration often determines whether projects succeed or struggle. So now let's take a closer look at what project integration management actually means. Traditionally, project integration management has been described as the activities that identify, define, consolidate, unify, coordinate all aspects of project work. In simpler terms, integration means connecting everything that needs to happen so that project functions as one coordinated effort. Think about what happens if departments operate independently. Engineering completes the design without consulting with operations. Procurement purchases equipment without coordinating with finance. The implementation team begins work before approvals has been completed. Even though everyone is working hard, the project begins experiencing delays, confusion, and unnecessary costs. Integration prevents those problems. It connects people, information, decisions, resources, and processes into one coordinated system. Although today's PMBOK guide emphasizes principles and performance domains, the underlying responsibility remains exactly the same. Successful project managers don't manage activities in isolation. They continually ask questions such as, how does this decision affect the rest of the project? Who else needs to be involved? Will the action help us deliver greater value? Those questions represent the mindset of an effective project leader. So now that we have discussed the project manager's leadership role, let's examine how the leadership is applied during project execution. Once planning has been completed, the project enters into an execution phase. This is where resources begin to be consumed, budgets start being spent, deliverables are produced, customers begin expecting results. Many new project managers believe they need to personally solve every problem. In reality, that rarely is the best approach. Instead, successful project managers create an environment where the team can perform at its highest level. They remove obstacles, coordinate communication, resolve conflicts, ensure that resources are available, clarify priorities, and keep everyone focused on the project's objectives. One concept that is showing in this slide is the work authorization system. Its purpose is straightforward. Work should begin only after it has been properly authorized. Imagine a construction project where contractors begin pouring concrete before the engineering drawings have been approved. Or imagine purchasing expensive equipment before funding has been finalized. The consequences can be significant. Work authorization helps ensure that project activities occur in the proper sequence and with appropriate approvals. So, as future project managers, remember this: execution isn't simply about keeping people busy. It's about making sure that people are working on the right activities at the right time with the right information to produce the right results. That's what effective project leadership looks like. Let's now discuss one of the most overlooked responsibilities of project managers: managing knowledge. Every project creates valuable experience. The question is whether the organization captures the knowledge or loses it. Think about experienced employees who retire after 20 or 30 years of service. They don't just take their office furniture with them, they take years of experience, judgment, practical insights, and lessons learned. So if that knowledge was never shared, the organization may spend years rediscovering what those employees already knew. So the PMBOK guide distinguishes between two types of knowledge. The first is explicit knowledge. This includes project plans, procedures, templates, reports, lessons learned, manuals, and other documented information. Explicit knowledge is relatively easy to share and store. So the second type is tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge exists inside people. It includes professional judgment, intuition, practical experiences, negotiation skills, leadership techniques, and those valuable lessons learned the hard way. Unlike documents, tacit knowledge is much more difficult to capture. That is why project managers encourage mentoring, collaboration, open communication, and regular discussion throughout the project. Knowledge management is not simply about creating more documents. It's about helping organizations become smarter after every completed project. That's one of the characteristics of organizations that consistently improve over time. So this brings us to one of the simplest but most valuable practices in project management: lessons learned. Many organizations wait until the very end of the project to conduct a lessons learned meeting. Unfortunately, by then, people may have forgotten important details. Team members may have moved on to other assignments, and valuable insights may be lost. Instead, successful organizations capture lessons throughout the life of the project. Generally, those lessons fall into three categories. The first involves technical lessons. This focus on the work itself. What worked well? What technical approaches should we continue using? What processes should we improve? The second involves project management lessons. This includes planning, scheduling, budgeting, procurement, risk management, and stakeholder engagement. What management practices help the project succeed? What should have been done differently next time? And the third category involves leadership and a team lessons. How effective was communication? How well did the team collaborate? Were stakeholders appropriately engaged? How effective was the decision making? The lessons often become some of the most valuable knowledge an organization possesses because they improve not only future projects, but also future leaders. So I would like to leave you with one final thought before we conclude part one. Every completed project leaves behind two things. One is the deliverable the customer requested. The other is knowledge. The deliverable creates value to the customer. The knowledge creates value to the organization. Successful project managers make sure that both are preserved. So thank you for watching part one. In the next video, we will continue by discussing how project managers monitor project performance, manage changes, and successfully close projects while maintaining focus on organizational value.